What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex and you're watching a Ragin Ronin review. Got a review for you. I checked out Midway. Midway is a World War II film directed by Ronin, who of course directed many big disaster films like Independence Day, Godzilla, The Day After Tomorrow, 2012. So these are really big films, and now he's directing a World War II film. And if you look back at his previous credits, you'll notice that these are fun popcorn films, right? And then when I see the poster for this film, it says from the director of Independence Day, based on real life true events. I'm just thinking, now how are you gonna have audiences take this film seriously? Because like he directs popcorn movies, and to top things off, this film, Midway, directed by Roland Emmerich, is the sequel to Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor film. I'm just kidding, okay? It's not, but I like to make fun of it because, you know, these are two big directors that are the master of explosions and disasters, Michael Bay, Roland Emmerich, directing two Pearl Harbor films. But actually, make no mistake about it, this film is not about Pearl Harbor. This is about the events that follow after Pearl Harbor, which lead up to the Battle of Midway. That's what this film is about, hence the title. Now, from what I understand, there's also, or from what I know, there's also another film that is about the Battle of Midway. Now, this was filmed many years ago. Some people are calling this a remake. I don't believe it's a remake at all. I've never seen the original film, but it's just a retelling of history. It's a World War II film, and you know, maybe 30 years down the line, they're gonna make another Midway film, but that in no way will be a remake of this one. It's just a retelling of history. They have to do this every few tens of years. It's just like how Pearl Harbor is not a remake of Tora Tora Tora. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let's get on with the review. So, Roland Emmerich as the director, I expect a full-on entertaining film, because especially when you got like these big battle sequences, planes flying, you know, are through like battleships and like battleships shooting down planes. It's almost like Independence Day, but like World War II. At least that's the way that he wanted it to, wanted the battle sequences to be shown. Okay. Now this has a pretty solid all-star cast. We got Ed Skrein, Patrick Wilson, Luke Evans, Aaron Eckhart, Nick Jonas, Tadanobu Asano. We also have Alexander Ludwig and Dennis Quaid and Woody Harrelson. Pretty solid cast, okay? And now these characters, or these actors, they play real life real life people who had a part in during the World War II events, during this war, right? And I just want to first start off by saying that I think that they all put in good performances for the roles that they played. I'm not a history buff, okay? So I don't know what any of these characters like in the history, but I enjoyed their performances, right? But let's get down to the real deal, okay? Roland Emmerich directing a World War II film with big battle sequences. He delivers. I gotta say, he delivers the goods, all right? If you want to see like battle sequences that are, and I'll say spectacular and fun to watch, this is that film, okay? Because those battle sequences are really cool. I particularly like the opening battle sequence, and that's Pearl Harbor, because that's how the film starts, because it leads up to the Battle of Midway. I actually really liked how they filmed the Pearl Harbor battle. I mean, Michael Bay gave us like a version of that, but it was like a big 45-minute sequence, right? This is like a shorter sequence, but it's kind of in the same style, right? It's very like flashy. Like what I mean by that is that it looks like a video game in a way, but like that's still cool. It looks good. It looks cool. A lot of CG work, a lot of explosions, a lot of destruction, as it was back in real life. There was a lot of destruction going on, right? And then it was all that's happening later on throughout the movie is the characters in the film talking about what's happening next, and then leading up to other battles and other battles and other battles and other battles to the big battle, okay? That's Battle of Midway. Now, that's where I have a problem with this film, because they show us the Battle of Pearl Harbor, and that's really cool. Then they show us like these other battles like that are like these like air raids, right? And then that's also really cool. It's entertaining, but then it starts getting repetitive, because they show a lot of these small battles that really, in a way, kind of are not complete. And what I mean by that is that it has a beginning but no end, or it doesn't have a beginning but has an end. and it doesn't feel like it has a beginning, middle, and end. They're just short sequences that kind of just tease us what happens. Or they'll just gloss over one of the big battles and then suddenly it just happened, but we didn't actually see it happen. It just was like, shows us the aftermath, right? And that's the biggest problem with this film, is that they crammed so many events, so many battles, so many different like really key events that happened throughout World War II into a 2-hour movie, into a feature-length film. Honestly, I think this film should have just been the Battle of Midway. I think it, you know, if I had to compare between Pearl Harbor and Midway, I like the fact that they had real-life characters we see what's going on, especially on the Japanese side. I think that they did this part really, really well. I love that we saw a well-balanced story, because we saw the Japanese side and the American side, right? I kind of like Pearl Harbor more, mostly because that even though we're following fictional protagonists, at least it's focused on these characters. With this one, it's focused on so many different stories. And I actually particularly was most interested in Aaron Eckhart's Jimmy Doolittle. I was most interested in his story, but he has the smallest part in the entire movie. And I'm just thinking, like, he's totally missing in action in this entire film. I mean, there's a lot of key players in this movie, but the movie is really focused on Ed Skrein, Patrick Wilson, and a bit of Luke Evans' characters as Wade McCluskey, Edwin Layton, and Dick Best. Those are the 3 main guys in this movie, and we got a lot of other players in this movie that, you know, they get a decent amount of screen time, but I had wished the Jimmy Doolittle story was fleshed out a lot more. So that's really, really unfortunate. At the end of the day, this is meant to be entertaining. This is not a history lesson. This is not a film that is for history buffs. I don't even know if it's historically accurate, especially since they only show bits and pieces of these battles. So I don't know what is real, what is not. It's based off of real life events, but this, if you want to watch something that I believe would be more accurate, I think the first film about Midway is probably the better one to watch if you're looking for that type of storytelling. If you're looking for something entertaining, on the other hand, this would be it. This is way more fast-paced. They crammed so much into this 2-hour film that once you start seeing, I feel like once you've seen the first and second battle, you've kind of seen them all. All those other battles are just kind of like, okay, you know, we've seen this sort of thing at the first half hour of the movie. It doesn't feel as satisfying, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, I'm gonna give it a, you know, they put in a good effort. I just wish that the movie was more focused on a particular set of characters and a specific event, as instead of just glossing over like 10 different battles crammed into a 2-hour movie, you know what I'm saying? So I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It's a decent effort, but I would have liked it done. I would have liked it more focused on a specific battle, because once we got to the Battle of Midway, I was just thinking, like, how is this different than any of the other battles? I'm sure, you know, it was a key part in the war, and it was very, very heroic, but, you know, they should have just focused on that, right? Anyways, that's all I got to say in this review. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Go check it out if you wanna check it out. As always, if you enjoyed this review, you want to see more, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.